August and everything after. Gentlemen, in front of me, they always put the preseason schedule on blue paper so I can look down quickly and know. In front of me, I have the week 1 schedule.
Nice.
It feels very good to have this, to have real matchups, real stakes, and it's all coming our way less than 10 days from now. It is deadline day today, D'Angelo. Rosters get cut down to 53 by 4 p.m. Eastern, so keep it right here on NFL Network all day long for all the latest news. What's that day like?
Well, I mean, for some of these younger football players, is an opportunity, right? Because some guys know they're not going to make a football team. And so what they're trying to do is put enough good stuff on film, because sometimes you're just up against the numbers crunch. Sometimes you just don't factor in, depending on running backs, receivers, depending on how many players at that position the team wants to keep. And so it's going to be some really good football players that don't have jobs that I'm sure every other team is going to be scouring the wires trying to figure out who can we add to our football team that performed really well in the preseason.
This year is going to be a game of chicken, too, because of the extended practice squads. Yeah. If you cut a player, another team might stash him. So if you like a player but he didn't really necessarily play at the top 53, you might keep him on your 53 just because of the long term. It's a whole different deal now where some of these late round picks, they used to say, we'll cut him, we'll bring him back on the practice squad. No. Other teams can grab him. I think it's going to be interesting who makes teams and who doesn't.
Would you keep a player in your 53 who says he's never going to play another down for you again?
That's a great
Would
question.
You do that?
That's a great segue.
We'll talk about that in a minute at GMFB. Actually, let's bring in Tom Pelissero for the lead blog. He's joining us from his home cam on this deadline day. Give us the latest with Deshaun Watson and what's going on with the Texans. It's the story everybody wants to know, as we are only 9 days away from kickoff to the season.
Okay, as of now, no trade is imminent with the Houston Texans for their star quarterback, Deshaun Watson. Hypothetically, that could change today if somebody steps up with the type of offer that Houston cannot refuse. But the more likely scenario as of this moment is that we are talking about Watson's football future for months to come. We reported before training camp began that the Texans were willing to listen, but the price was going to be high. 3 first-round draft picks and more to get Deshaun Watson. That price has not changed. The Texans have not budged. And the message that they have sent to other teams is if they don't get what they want for him, then they are willing to wait. The situation does change after 4 p.m. Eastern time today. At that point, the Texans would have to decide, do they play with 52 indefinitely? Do they pay Deshaun Watson over $10 million to stay home or just to attend meetings as he has been? Or do they say, after everything that has happened on and off the field for months now, after having him as their 4th-string quarterback throughout training camp, now, Deshaun, you must play for us or else we are going to fine you, we are going to suspend you, we are going to go after your money and void your guarantees. This all comes, of course, against the backdrop of serious allegations of sexual misconduct. 22 civil lawsuits, there's a grand jury probe, and the NFL is continuing to investigate. Potentially, there could be a suspension for Deshaun Watson, though more than likely that would come in 2022 just based on the pace of how things are going right now. Also, Watson has a no-trade clause, and it has been an open secret within the NFL that his preferred destination is the Miami Dolphins. As for the NFL, they did not place Watson on the commissioner's exempt list prior to training camp. My understanding is, Kay, there is no expectation that changes today. Watson will remain eligible to play for now.
Connecting the dots between the Miami Dolphins and Deshaun Watson. Excellent timeline. Beautiful breakdown by you. Thank you so much for waking up so early to explain it to us here at the breakfast table and all the viewers at home ahead of that deadline today. Thanks so much, Tom. We'll talk to you in a bit. Dolphins head coach Brian Flores was asked about Deshaun Watson yesterday. He talked about not just him, but adding any player to the roster, potentially bringing anyone who might be of use to them in Miami. Take a listen.
There's a lot of variables there. We want a group that's tough, that's smart, that's competitive, that loves to play, that's team first. I think those are the types of guys we're looking for. Look, I mean, we have a high standard for the people we have in the organization, so I don't get into last strikes or anything. We just, we want the people with high character and throughout the building. And that's what we're looking for.
The questions keep coming up in Miami about Deshaun, about Tua. How confident do you think the Dolphins are in their quarterback?
Well, this is crazy. You just said it, like it's September tomorrow. The Dolphins play the Patriots in 12 days. Flores was also asked directly, okay. Can you say that the team is not interested in Deshaun Watson? He says, I'm interested in the players we have on this team. That's nuts. And you're saying, well, he can't tamper. Of course he can't tamper. Tampering is saying, oh, we got our eye on that guy, we like him. What he can do is say, we have no interest in anyone. We believe in Tua. We are not interested in any player, the one you mentioned or otherwise. We like the guys we have here in the building, and we are ready for our opener against the New England Patriots. You can say that, and he won't. And meanwhile, the Texans haven't emphatically said that we're not trading for him. And there's so much chatter. Drew Rosenhaus is chirping. He's not Deshaun Watson's agent. He's down there in Miami. He says, oh, this can happen. In fact, the Dolphins are working on this deal. Who knows what Drew knows or what he's working, but he's saying that, which means that every single Miami Dolphin is hearing this, including Tua Tagovailoa, that they've said to a man that they're behind and they're devoted to, and yet he won't shut it down. So would you not come out today and say, listen, Tua's our guy. He was our guy at the draft when you brought this up. He was our guy 2 years ago when you brought this up. We are going to battle with Tua. He won't say it. It's nonsense about we like the players we have here. And it's deafening. It's absolutely deafening. Hell yes, there's something going on, or he would shut it down.
I could tell you that back before all these allegations and the whole situation with Watson off the field, he was the hottest name in all of football, and there were teams like Carolina that were interested, teams that like Denver were interested, Philadelphia was willing to consider. I don't hear anything out of those buildings anymore. It's Miami, and a lot of that probably comes from the Watson side, because on Watson's side, he still has a no-trade clause. As much as we think he has no leverage in this thing, Watson still is due $10 million if he doesn't even play a down this year. Like, that's what the Texans are going to keep him on the roster. So I feel like this is one of those where it just makes sense match-wise that, A, the Dolphins haven't publicly come out, Kyle, to your point, and said, we're definitely not interested and we're 100% in on Tua, and here we go. And B, Watson, as Tom alluded to, has made it quite known that Miami would be a destination he would consider playing for. So you have this match, and then you've got Tua, who is this great kid, this awesome character, all the things that Flores was just raving about, and he's standing there, and I don't think you have to be exclusive. You don't have to say if you like Tua, then you don't want Watson, or if you want Watson, you don't like Tua. I think it's fair to leave the door open on this one, and hey, Tua, that's the NFL. You're not owed anything of, we love you, we're not going to trade for you, I swear we're not going to lie to you, that's just what we are. If Deshaun Watson's available and they've got a couple draft picks to spare for him and they think it checks out off the field, whether it's now or whether it's in March of 22 or whether it's before the draft in April, I think that's an upgrade just from the football standpoint. And if they think off the field he checks off, I think Deshaun Watson, I think we all would agree, it's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even close, right? When you watch the Miami Dolphins play, when you watch them play last season, and I love Tua, but he does need more time. He needs more seasoning. When you have a guy like Deshaun Watson, he is a proven commodity. And so, yes, to your point, Peter, why is Brian Flores not saying this? Maybe because he knows it's not the truth, right? Maybe he knows he can't say this. He understands that when you add a guy like Deshaun Watson to your roster, I mean, you instantly get credibility. I mean, for what Houston's team was last year, for him to put the numbers up he did, protect the football, I mean, he's so wise beyond his years on the football field. If everything else checks out off the field, on the field, I mean, there's no questions about who this guy is as a football player. Can you put up some stats for me real quick on Tua?
You're calling for the full screen.
Yeah, I mean, because this is what you're up against. Yeah. And this is a team that won 10 games and was on the bubble to make the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, that division is theirs if Deshaun Watson is on that football team. And I know we got big bad Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills up there, but if you add a player of Deshaun Watson's caliber to this roster, sky's the limit in my eyes.
Is there a reason that the noise has quieted in those other buildings that we've heard of? The Broncos, the Eagles especially, they were hot for a minute on them. They pulled the trade for Minshew.
I think one of the major reasons is because we're finding out that this investigation, whether it be from the civil or the criminal side, is not going to be fully done until March of 2022 at the earliest. So this whole season is going to be this like laying in limbo season.
Because you have to pay him eventually, right?
No, you don't have to pay him, but you have to give up all those draft picks. So if you're going to give up 3 draft picks and your starting quarterback and all these things, and then you find out in March, like, oh wait, actually he's he's guilty of all these things, you're not going to be able to have him, and you have that stain on your
Yeah.
resume. Miami, for whatever reason, he wants to go there. They're not closing the door on this yet. And until they close that door, Kyle, I think this is going to linger all season long.
It's a little hard for me to listen to Brian Flores and what he's talking about with high integrity. And it's hard for me to sort of listen to that with Deshaun Watson having that hanging over his head. And none of us know what Deshaun Watson did or did not do. We do know what he's accused of. So if you're going to go on and on about the importance of high value, high integrity people in your locker room, I guess... why trade? How can you go trade for a guy who might have done something? Like, that's the allegation, right? That's what's going on. So that's a little hard for me. It's a big risk for anybody to take, obviously, because of a potential fallout, the possibility he does get suspended, the possibility that he did actually do some of these things. So I just feel like the sell of a high standards organization was a weird thing for him to say.
It was. I mean, it's the world we live in, though, right? I mean, how many times have great athletes or great people in the business world or entertainers been given second chances because of what they bring to the table? And so, you know,
But going out of your way to sell yourself,
exactly.
It was very like he said it for a reason. So it's just, I always pay attention. Like, why would he? Like, yes, I was waiting for to tell me Tua's your guy. That's what you're looking for. But also, like, what? Go ahead.
No, I think you make a good point, and I would answer your question that either he believes or has information that maybe Deshaun is not who some people think he is. I would just, if I'm Tua Tagovailoa, I'm walking in today to work and saying,
"What's up?
What the hell, Coach? Am I your bleeping guy?
I don't know.
Let's go.
I don't know if that's Tua.
I agree.
I don't know if that's Tua.
If not now.
I don't even know if Tua's going in there and he's fired up and saying, no, I'm your man. Like, they say there's that fire in him. I'm not sure internally that he's outraged by this.
Maybe that's why we're having this conversation.
When you take the temperature of the league and, like, everything, and you're the perfect person to ask it to, like, what is everyone just like,
yeah, not my problem. Not my problem. Staying away from it until not my problem. Not getting involved.
No one wants to touch it.
I don't want to touch this. I don't know.
So why are the Dolphins? They got a good young quarterback that they believe in.
They're not touching it either. Publicly, they said nothing. They're just being.
But they're not touching it.
They're
you know what I'm
not
saying?
touching it.
I guess they think maybe the juice is worth the squeeze, and Deshaun is that good. And if we're wrong, Miami, go ahead and say something, and we'll stop talking about it.
He is that good.
He's a very good player.
At GMFB, what do you guys think about Deshaun Watson, about the